What did we just learn about the formation of new cells? Cells are produced from pre-existing cells. We also noticed that they undergo DNA-related changes. But how exactly does this process take place? How does one cell produce another cell just like itself? Well, we know the two main postulates of the cell theory. Firstly, a cell is the fundamental unit of life. Secondly, all cells come from pre-existing cells. So, all organisms are made up of cells. But if all cells come from pre-existing cells, it is important to have a closer look at how this process actually works. Let us assume we have one single cell. It has a nucleus where there are a bunch of chromosomes, and these chromosomes are made up of DNA molecules. Now, if this cell wants to create another cell like itself, what would its possible course of action be? Assume you want someone really close to you to move out of your apartment. However, you also want to make sure they aren't inconvenienced. What all would be the measures you undertake? Firstly, of course, you'll find them another house to stay in. Once that's done, you will get that person all the things required to help function in a new house, like kitchen utensils, stove, bed, machines, and many other things. Once you've created another independent apartment like yours, you would ask that person to move in there. Now imagine the setting up of a new house as the making of a new cell apparatus. The cell too divides in a similar fashion. The chromosomes replicate and form another similar copy like them. Once that is done, they cannot just be thrown out. A cell apparatus is formed, and then the duplicated mass of the DNA is sent to the new cell. Let me ask you a very important question here. Do you think the new cell is exactly similar to the parent cell? Well, the answer would be no. Are you taken by surprise? You must be wondering, how can they be different if they are duplicates, right? The duplication of the DNA is a biochemical process. As you know, that chemical reactions cannot be perfectly accurate at all times. Hence, though the DNA replication process should give birth to an exactly identical DNA mass, this may not always be the case. Sometimes there could be a chemical variation which may lead to some differences between the two. But does that mean that both the cells will be poles apart? Not really. The differences may be very subtle, and that is not bad at all. But do you know what would happen if the new DNA mass is totally different? It wouldn't be able to adjust the cell apparatus, and the cell will die. The cell apparatus will be able to accommodate only the specific type of the DNA mass and not a distinctly new one. But let me ask you something. Is variation really harmful for all living organisms? Take a moment and think. What would happen if we never had any variations? While you think, move on to the next video to see if your thoughts are in the right direction.